Welcome to episode 93 of Think Big with Michael Zellner. All positive, no politics. My guest today is Denise Panza. Denise is a senior mortgage banker at Total Mortgage Services and has been in the mortgage industry for 27 years. She amazingly started when she was just 5 years old. She graduated from Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts in 1993 with a bachelor's in elementary education. She was also named one of 25 real estate trendsetters by Success Magazine. And she is licensed to do mortgages in 14 states, including Tennessee. Welcome to the show, Denise.
Thank you, Michael, for inviting me.
My pleasure. Tell us something interesting about yourself most people don't know.
I would say that I like to build stuff. So the kitchen, not so much with the cooking, but give me a drill and a saw and a piece of wood, and I like to build things.
Wow. Now I saw that really nice thing that you had outside of your house in New York in the backyard, that big long table that you had.
Yes.
Did you help to do that too?
I did, yes, because it's pallets, and I am obsessed with pallets. You know, the wood pallets that you can get anywhere. You go to Home Depot. Yeah, just you can make signs and bars and chairs and tables, and it's like endless, and they're free, and it's wood.
Absolutely. So you were born in Brooklyn and went to school at John Jay High School. What are some of your best memories of your growing up in New York?
In upstate New York. So born in Brooklyn. I feel like it's still in my blood because that's where we would spend every single holiday. That's where my grandparents and everybody lived. But in upstate New York, I mean, upstate's nice because you have the grass, you have the yard, you have the pool. So we got to, you got to walk the town and, ride your bike and play in the woods. Like my brothers and I would play fort in the woods. So, Dutchess County is it's close enough to the city, right? It's like an hour and change outside of Manhattan, but you're still in New York, but you get that whole,
Did you have some teachers in high school that had a really good influence on you that you remember?
Maybe my fourth grade teacher, I just remember her, Mrs. Atherton. I just remember thinking that she was pretty cool. And maybe my kindergarten teacher too, because she let me be Mrs. A in the alphabet and everyone wanted to be Mrs. A. So maybe I thought she was really cool too.
Speaking of kindergarten, I believe you got your college degree, it led you into teaching kindergarten. Why did you choose the young kids, and what did you like most about teaching?
I love little people, and I really wanted to teach in the inner city. So that was my, after I graduated, I knew I am beelining right towards Brooklyn, and I just wanted to teach in the inner city. I just, I love giving back, and I love children.
What did you get out of it? The few years that you were able to do that, what did you learn most about it?
Well, my teaching career was very limited because what happened was I left Northeastern, graduated, then I'm like, okay, I'm moving to Brooklyn and I'm going to get a teaching degree. And in 1993, there was like a big giant teaching freeze in all of New York, really, but definitely in the city. So it was like, okay, I can substitute teach one day a week, never be able to afford my rent. Or I thought, let me leave and go back to Boston. So I went back to Boston thinking that Northeastern, I just gave them 5 years of my life, and my dad paid 5 years of my schooling, that they should hook me up in with a teaching degree in Boston. Right. And again, I was still back to the substitute teaching. So, and then I got pregnant. And then I got pregnant at 23, single mom, and realized that I needed my mom. So I left Boston, went back to New York with a 2-month-old by myself, and again, tried to find a teaching job in upstate New York. Still teaching freeze. I remember applying to like 40 different school districts and 40 different schools. And then I got desperate and just needed a job really quick. So I found an ad in the paper for a post-closing position for a mortgage company and thought, you know what, my mortgage, I knew the mortgage industry a little bit because my dad had owned a mortgage company out in Long Island. So I thought, you know what, it's a close enough office. It's 9 to 5. My son can be in preschool and then I can see him after hours. And then here I am 28 years later, never left the business, and I never got a real teaching job.
And I guess, I'm a big believer that, things happen the way they're supposed to happen. and that not getting that teaching job and everything, obviously you're much more successful as far as financially than you would have been teaching. As much as it's great to be a teacher and you get so much out of it, and I have many friends that are teachers. Obviously your career is exactly where it's supposed to be.
Right. And I get so much out of it too. Because
Right.
making home buyers' dreams come true, and teaching a 6-year-old their ABCs is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. One of your favorite quotes is, quote, "Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity," unquote. Did you feel like the mortgage industry was your calling and you just had to go for it?
Yeah, I think so. Because at one point I was, I never thought of myself as a salesperson, because, I'm a first grade teacher or a kindergarten teacher. We don't do sales, we're not 100% commission. And then one day when I was working for this one particular mortgage company as a loan officer and I was getting a salary, he was like, listen, you're not, that paycheck you thought you were getting on Friday? Yeah, not so much. You're 100% commission. And I was like, wait, what? Me? I don't know how to do that. And then that's when I was like, wait a minute. As much as I wanted to, probably karate chop him at that moment, to this day, I have to thank him, because if he didn't do that and put that fire under my ASS, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And I've been 100% commission since then. And that was 25 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, commission sales. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, it's all up to you. I mean, no one else is going to do it for you. If you're not out there busting your butt, it's not going to
Correct.
happen.
Yeah. But your income potential is endless.
Absolutely.
Depending upon how much you hustle.
Yeah. You said, quote, "It's the whole oh well versus what if syndrome, or is it failure versus regret? You know the expression, it is better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. However, is it better to play chicken running across the train track and fail than not try at all? Probably not. I just bought a new necklace with my daughter and my charm says no regrets. Personally, I don't have any regrets, true story, but I do have a bunch of bad choices and bad decisions, laugh out loud. But again, zero regrets. I'm all about the oh wells versus the what ifs. Life is way too short. Cheers to the oh wells," unquote. I love that you say you have no regrets, Denise. Why is that?
I just don't want to ever regret something that I did, right? Because I wouldn't be who I am today. And you have to make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to make bad choices,
Right.
as long as you learn from them. Some of them I have learned from, maybe some I'm still learning from,
Right.
but I just don't want to ever, my last day to have any regrets and to look back and wish I didn't do something or did do something.
You've gotten so many amazing testimonials from customers and clients of yours over the years. And, quote, one of them is, "Being a first time home buyer, Denise made what was a complicated process extremely easy and seamless. She was very patient and attentive to all my needs, questions, and concerns. Her professionalism experience is second to none, 10 out of 10, unquote." Being patient with clients and people in general sometimes is not easy. How important has that been to what you do every day?
Extremely important, especially when, I've done this a million times over, mortgages, or bought a house. And when you're just somebody doing it for the first time, you have to be so sensitive to that. Like, you just can't assume, like, what, you don't know what an arm is, or you don't know what this, like, you have to be so patient, because there was a time when that was me. Right. And
Right.
you need someone to hold your hands, and never, and I don't want anyone to ever feel uncomfortable about the process or have any, any confusion or hangups. You just want to make sure that I want them to understand and love what they are doing, what they're about to do, and get it.
Right. I used to be a sales trainer. I sold Cutco knives when I was in college. Actually, the company is right outside of Buffalo, New York. Olean, New York is where Cutco is made. And I was a trainer after I was sold in college. And I would tell my salespeople what you just said, talking about how it's the first time, you've held these knives and use these knives all the time. But when you're showing a customer the product, the same thing when someone's buying a home, it's the first time they're ever seeing it. And you have to consider that every time you're with someone.
Yes, that's true. True. It's perfect.
Yeah. I've read a few interesting facts about you. You said, quote, "I am deathly afraid of crickets," unquote. Now we normally hear people afraid of spiders, mice, snakes, but crickets, Denise?
I know, it's so weird. My mother's house in Dutchess County, she had a raised ranch, and my bedroom at some point became on the main floor and the basement floor, really. And then their garage was right there. And I just remember, I don't know if we left the garage open all the time. I don't know how those suckers got in there, but there was always, and they were giant. They were giant and they could hop on you. So, I mean, spiders, I mean, I know that there's like hopper spiders, but I've never
Right.
really come across any. And the ones that do hop aren't like big. Those ones just crawl. But crickets, I think it's the noise and they're just disgusting to me. And the fact that they can hop on you.
The noise is annoying. It is very
It
annoying
is.
when they're around and everything. You're right. Exactly. And you always know when they're around because you hear them.
And you can't always see them, but you
Yes.
know that they can hop on you.
Yes, that is true. Quote, do I work on vacation? I sure as heck do every single time, but don't judge because I certainly don't judge those that choose not to work on vacay. Listen, besides the fact that I'm 100% commission, I have clients that are depending on me. Like offers need to go in highest and best by 5 p.m. Appraisals need to get ordered. Closings need to be scheduled. The world certainly doesn't stop because my ass is on vacation, and I'm okay with that. It's what I signed up for. And guess what? I still smile every single day. Unquote.
I do.
That's pure dedication to your craft. And, and knowing the end result, for your client, and you just sort of refer to that is going to be making them smile when you come through for them, it has to make everything you're doing and all the time you put into it worth it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. No regrets for working on vacation.
What is the feeling like, when, I know what the feeling probably is like, I've been a homeowner, so I know what it's like when you first buy your home. What is the feeling like? What kind of, do you get sort of like a high when you close it and the person gets into that home and that excitement has to still be there?
Every single time. I can't wait to send, when I see the clear to close come over on my computer, I immediately text. I don't know why I text, because sometimes the responses are so fun. They're either like, sending crying emojis or like, wine or celebrating, and I'll make the text to them fun, but I always like to just save them because it's just, I don't know, it's fun. I get the biggest kick to this day still texting people and saying, guess what? You're cleared to close. You're going to be a homeowner next week. And then you can, their response is always going to make you feel good because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And it's fabulous. I love it.
That's awesome. And this testimonial backs that up. Quote, Denise was amazing to work with on the purchase of my new home. She pays attention to detail and keeps you well informed on every step of the process. She literally works around the clock in order to get your closing done in a timely fashion. Her customer service is hands down the best service, and I feel many companies could take a lesson from her. She is the mortgage guru. I will recommend Denise to family, friends, and strangers, unquote. I completely agree with that because there's so many people, so many companies, corporations, businesses that are just not on top of taking care of their customers. And I think in many cases, they take them for granted. Letting them know all the way through from day one, all the way until closing day, that you're there for them must mean everything to them.
I hope so. I want to hold their hand and make them, I just let them know that I'm here for you, like from start to finish. And I always tell them, I laugh. I'm like, you're going to go into withdrawal because we're not going to talk anymore. You're going to miss my text messages. You're going to miss my emails, and I'm going to miss theirs too. Because this is not like a transaction. It's a relationship. We're going to be friends forever,
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Right. That when you're probably, that process probably could take, sometimes a month, sometimes several months, with people, and you're texting and talking to them all the time and laughing and having a good time. And then all of a sudden it stops, because life goes on, and I know you deal with so many different people and you have that experience, but right. I'm sure there's people that miss you, and I'm sure there's people that you miss too.
But I don't leave them. They get birthday emails, cards. I send,
That's awesome.
happy 1 year house anniversary. Heck, I'll send you a happy 5-year house anniversary. You're not getting rid of me.
That is key. I have one of my really good friends who's a marketing guru, and he's told me that those things, what you do, going that extra step makes all the difference in the world to people that know that you remember them.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. Another fact about you, quote, I was on Dr. Oz and Flea Market Flip and I won, unquote. That's so cool. Tell us more about those times.
So the Dr. Oz one was just silly. It was, I don't know, something came over on the email and it was like, hey, we're looking for, a couple of women at this age, to do what I didn't know it was to be on the Dr. Oz show. So for fun, I got it. And a producer wrote back and she's like, well, here's the deal. It's Dr. Do you have any girlfriends? And I'm like, wait, I can be on Dr. Oz with a couple of my girlfriends and just be, we took the train down to the city. They did your hair and makeup. And it was like a kissing. It was apparently there's something to do with lip imprints that it can tell a lot about a person. So we had to well, the whole thing was staged. It was so embarrassing, but they had like a famous soap opera guy come out and we all had to kiss him and, pretend like we were his biggest fan. And then apparently they were able to read our personalities through our lip imprints. And then the flea market flip, again, because I love to build stuff, right? So it was just, when I saw it come on Instagram, it was like final casting call for flea market flip on HGTV. And now I was like, oh my gosh, I would do that. I watch it all the time. So I text my cousin Tony in Jersey and I was like, you want, and she does the same thing. She likes to refurbish pieces, right? So I said, you want to do it? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So I wrote that night. It was due that night at 1 o'clock in the morning. You had to submit the app. I submitted it. The next day, the producer called and she was like, all right, I need you both in the same place. We're going to do an interview on Saturday. I drove to Jersey. We did our interview. And then 3 weeks later, they're like, all right, you're on.
That's awesome. It's funny to talk about how Dr. Oz being staged. I had a friend of mine years ago, and bless his memory, his name was Lee, and he worked on Sally Jesse Raphael show. And he said,
I remember her.
He said it was staged. Yeah, he said those shows, most of those shows, I'm sure probably not all of them, but most of those shows are staged and everything. And you never realize it. I had another friend that was on The Voice about 9 years ago, and he said it was staged. He was told ahead of time he wasn't going to win. I was like, wow. Now I'm not sitting there claiming that all the voices, it's all staged and all that, not doing, but in that particular season, what he was on, he said it was staged and he knew ahead of time he wasn't going to win.
Wow. Even flea market flip was a little staged. I mean, I don't really know how you can, it was like, Denise, go over to that piece of furniture and talk about how much you love it. And I'm like, that's so, because I'm not an actress, right? So I'm like, oh, I love this piece of furniture. So they're like, no, Denise, not like that. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
Right. You said, quote, make your happiness as important as the air you breathe. Seriously, if you're going to do anything to better your health and well-being, is to get some fresh air. Sunshine helps too. So cheers to fresh air and happy days ahead, unquote. How do you define happiness in your life?
Well, my children give me a lot of happiness. Not so much they give it to me, but watching them be happy and watching them, grow and live their best life. That's what brings me happiness. Happiness just means to me also just everything is just nice. Everything is just status quo, no anxiety, no, just not having, rifts with anyone. Just everything is just pure status quo. That's what I like. Next to my kids being happy.
I like that. Quote, Denise's confidence was calming. She handled my mortgage process start to finish as if it was something as simple as giving me directions to a good restaurant. It made a huge difference with my anxiety level. Total Mortgage's portal and prompts made supplying all the necessary documentation very easy. Couldn't have been more pleased, unquote. How have you been able to simplify things for homeowners and home buyers, keep them calm, and take them from what would expect to be a very stressful time for them, to where they're able to stay calm throughout that process?
Well, I like to do a lot of things for them. I mean, I can't do everything. I can't find their house, but I can give them a great realtor. I can't, I can't be their attorney, but I can refer them to a great attorney. I can refer them to a great insurance agent. And then just throughout the process, if they're like, well, Denise, I can't find this. They can't find their Social Security award letter. Well, let me show you the link where you can go and get it. Or Denise, I can't scan this, or you know what, I'll do it for you, or I'll upload it, or just whatever I can do to make their lives easier is what I like to do best.
And that's, I'm sure that obviously is one of the big reasons why you get referrals from people too, because they know that, you took care of me, you're going to take care of my friends, you're going to take care of my family, and they have total confidence in you.
Yes. Yes, I think so.
You said, quote, doing business without marketing is like winking at a girl in the dark, unquote. That's too funny and true. I know that you're asked a lot about this, but the audience isn't, probably most of them have never seen your LinkedIn page and your unique brand and marketing style. that you hold in your hands and display. Tell us a little bit about what that is, the little board, and how you came up with that.
My letter board, because I want to be, you have to stand out in the crowd. There's like hundreds and thousands of me loan officers, right? But you got to do something a little bit different. And I also, when I would watch other people on LinkedIn, I didn't want to just talk about guidelines and regulations because, unless it really pertains to you, that's just not exciting stuff. I just wanted to talk about, well, first me, right? Because people want to work with someone who they like, know, and trust. So first I wanted them to do all that. And then the letter boards just kind of were, I needed something fun that would separate me from others and be like, what is this chick doing with this letter board? But then, the letter boards got kind of fun, and what you put on there, they became like engaging, and people were, just random matter, right? I would talk about random things, right? It doesn't even have to be mortgage related. Maybe something totally random, and then mortgages, and then random, and then mortgages. You got to throw it in there every once in a while. But I just didn't want to be that girl that just gets on here and just talks about mortgages, because that would not be fun.
Did you notice that your engagement with people getting more involved in your page and responding went up when you started doing that?
Yes. Yeah. It was great. And then I also because I had this goal that I wanted to do 100 letter boards last year, and it was getting to like crunch time. And I'm like, wow, I felt like I did like 10,000 of them, but I'd only done like, I don't know, 67. So then it was like the whole challenge of how many more letter boards. And, I didn't want to just write, put words on there that, they had to mean something, and they had to be, something that was, that someone would want to actually read. So it became like a little bit of a game and a challenge to see if I could do my 100 boards in time before the year was out.
You're talking to somebody who has a big background in sales and marketing and branding and everything. I tell you, that is one of the most unique, coolest things I've seen. And it, when I noticed that on your page and everything, I'm like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's on top of it. So it's working. It's working
Thanks.
really well. So that's great. Another random Denise fact, quote, baby's breath should be banned. I actually feel bad. I dislike the little white stuff so much. But on a side note, I want to be a florist in my next life, unquote. I have to know why you want to be a florist.
I am obsessed. If I go to the grocery store once a week, it's the milk, the eggs, and the flowers. I just love flowers first, right? I love it. I think they just give me instant happiness. I think they do that for anyone, right? Anyone that gets flowers. I mean, there's no way it cannot make you happy receiving flowers, and just the way it makes a room feel or makes you feel looking at them. So it just seems like it, second nature should be that I should own a florist, because I love them. And I love how they make other people happy, and I love to arrange them. And, I like the whole, decorating part of it, decorating vases and throwing all the different flowers into the mix. So that would be a dream.
Or do you know a lot about like the different kind of flowers? What is what?
I know a handful of them. Yeah.
That's more than I know.
Yeah, guys, typically men don't, but yeah, I think I do.
That's cool. You were named one of the top 100 community loan officers nationwide by the National Association of Minority Mortgages. That's awesome. Congratulations. What does that mean for your business?
I hope that it means to certain people, certain people have their niche, and it's like, I do $1 million deals and $1 billion deals, and I only do high end. And I would never, I'm sure their paycheck is wonderful, but
sure.
I want to be able to help everyone. So by winning that award, I hope that people realize, even if you're buying a $75,000 home, and that I'm your girl, like, we're going to make that happen. So I don't want to, like, I would never want to segregate anyone. And I love that means that I've done so many loans in the inner city,
And that means you've helped a lot of people that maybe would not have been able to buy a home to get a home.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how I feel. That makes me so proud.
And it should. You said, quote, pretty sure my Saturday night was better than yours. Once upon a time, I met a complete stranger on a JetBlue flight to Florida from New York, unquote. You're referring to your new friend, Pete, 95 years old. World War II vet, and he was married to his wife, Margaret, for 69 years. Tell us a little bit more about him and that friendship that was made on the plane.
I didn't know we were going to talk about Pete. So I'm going to get sensitive now. I talked to him today, He's actually, he's back in the hospital. So, I'm a little sensitive, but he's going to be okay. This man is such a fighter. It's incredible. But the last 2 times I've talked to him have been in the hospital. I did have the absolute pleasure to have drinks with his daughter, Debbie, last week. And I love her. And, it was so great because she was like, Dad wants me to take you out to a fancy dinner. And she was in town from Houston, Texas with her girlfriend. And we were supposed to all be together to meet at Pete's house that was severely damaged in the hurricane, with a builder that my dad used. And we were all meeting at the house. Unfortunately, Pete went into the hospital, so he couldn't come, but Debbie was here, and she and I were able to connect, and it was nice. We took a picture together. We sent it to Pete, and I know that me and Debbie will become friends she's going to relocate here to Naples. And I know that our friendship is just going to bloom. And that's all thanks to Pete.
Nowadays people on a plane, like, back in the 90s and 2000s, when I did fly a lot, people talked on the plane because you didn't have phones. You weren't sitting there on your laptop. You talked, you either went to sleep or you talked to somebody. Nowadays, everybody's enthralled in their phones and their laptops, watching a movie. Most people don't talk. How did you guys strike up a conversation?
It was one of those smaller JetBlue planes, so it was only 2 seats and 2 seats. And that's just the kind of guy he is. I mean, I don't have headphones, so I wasn't on mine, and he doesn't. He still has a flip phone, so he wasn't on his, and he didn't really want to watch TV, I guess. And I don't watch TV on the plane either. So we just started talking, and he must have said something to me. And then I was like, oh, I like this guy. And then it was just, whoa, 3.5 hours of nonstop talking.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then, our friendship continued, and, after the fact, and we went out to dinner together. I drove over and I scooped him up, and we went to dinner. We had a lovely dinner. And now I know, his family. And I know I was just saying this yesterday. I'm like, it's so crazy how just 2 strangers meeting on an airplane, that it could turn into something so special.
I talk a lot about, and I say it on many podcasts, the power of a moment. And I do not believe in coincidences. You guys were exactly where you were supposed to be at that time together. Exactly where we're supposed to be. That's wonderful. Yeah. I love this. You said, quote, "Am I my own cheerleader? I am. Is it bragging to post testimonials? Heck no. It's the number one source of your credibility. Duh. Would you let a surgeon cut you open without knowing they are trustworthy with your life? Would you let a hairdresser cut and color your hair without client reviews or an online application? Heck, I can't even buy a cute dress on Amazon without reading reviews. Cheers to cheering yourself," unquote. I've read some of those great testimonials we've talked about, and you have, so many more. That's all too. You do have to be your own advocate to promote yourself and your brand. And so people are comfortable with you, and they make a good decision that they want to come with you. They're comfortable, right?
Yes. Yeah, I do. No shame in my game. I mean, especially because I'm also 100% commission. So it's not like I don't buy leads. I don't, they don't come to me unless I kind of, put myself out there. Am I uncomfortable with it? I'm uncomfortable doing Zooms. I get like complete anxiety doing, a Zoom, but you have to do it, right? I have to put my big girl pants on, and I just have to put myself out there and do it.
Yeah, I was uncomfortable. I had never done this before. I started in June, and like a week before, I didn't know how to record, how to do any of this, because I was brought up in the same time you were. And, we didn't learn any of that stuff. I remember seeing computers in high school in the mid to late 80s and thinking, I'm never going to need one of those. You had no idea, today's world, what it's like and everything. But I had to crash learn in a week how to do.
And now look at you. Did you say this is number 93?
Yeah. So now it's second nature, because I have a friend named Tony that really helped me out. And he came over here 5 different times in a 2-week period and taught me how to do all this. So, I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, I was uncomfortable, but you got to do what you got to do. I put myself out there in March and reached out to people and said, hey, I'm going to start this podcast. And I had a lot of people responding back, said, hey, I'll definitely come on. So I was like, I got to do it now, because I put myself out there, which you got to do it.
That's awesome. Good for you, Mike.
Thank you. You've worked for, a few different mortgage companies over the, 27 years, and back on August 29th of 2020, you decided to make a change. You said, quote, "I did a thing today, a new job tomorrow, the world. Time to start something new and trust the magic of beginnings," unquote. Tell us about your decision to join Total Mortgage, and what makes you feel like the company is and why it's so successful.
I am so happy at my new home. This is my forever home. It was one of the companies that I was going to go to prior to the last company. And I don't know. I don't really know why I chose the other one. Because I do know so many people that work for this company, Total Mortgage, but it was whatever. It was a timing thing. Again, no regrets. Learning curve there, but I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, I feel like I get recruited all the time, as does
Sure.
everybody, I'm sure, in this market now. But when they start, "Hi, this is such and such from such," I "Are you recruiting me?" And they're like, "Yes." And I'm like, I am so happy. I don't care what they have to offer. I mean,
Right.
it's like, it's really, they're like, it doesn't matter what they're willing to give me, what they want. I don't even want to hear it. I know that might be, some people might be like, "Denise, that's a little crazy," but when something just works, it works. It works.
Absolutely.
I sleep at night. I feel good about my loans. I know they're going to get taken care of, which means my clients at the end of the day are going to be happy. And that's all that matters. It's peaceful.
I'm sure on LinkedIn, especially with we talked about with your marketing techniques, that there are probably a lot of people that reach out to you on there trying to recruit you.
There's a bunch,
Yeah.
but I'm sure a lot of people get in this market now because the rates went up and, business is slow. So they're probably like just calling,
Right.
a lot more than they ever were before. So, but still, I'm still not going anywhere.
And that says a lot about you. Number one, your dedication. Secondly, your commitment to the company you're working for. And third, that people are reaching out to you because they see that you're successful and they see what you're doing. So that's a big reflection on you. So that's wonderful.
It's
You know,
nice. I am flattered. I do tell them that I'm 100% flattered for the consideration,
right.
but I'm staying put.
Good for you. My favorite quote of yours is short, but it's super sweet. Quote, "Make today so awesome that yesterday gets jealous," unquote. What are some of the ways and things that you do each day to make that happen?
What are the, I'd be a better Denise than I was yesterday. And I know I can do that every day. I know there's a lot of room for improvement. So I know just being a little bit better every day, whether it's, maybe walking a few more steps, drinking one last glass of wine, each week, whatever it may be. But just every day, just doing a little something to make me a better person.
Yeah, like I said, that quote is so awesome. I'll probably end up sharing that on my Facebook page because I like that a lot. But I will
Oh,
put
good.
quotation marks around it because I never take credit for something that's not mine ever.
No, but it's not my quote. I mean, I probably
Sure.
just read it somewhere. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
have
but
it.
it's a great quote.
It
You know,
is.
Tell us a little bit about your baby brother Wayne, who I believe is a home builder in the Hamptons.
Well, both of my brothers, I'm the big sister. So I have two brothers. I have Anthony and Wayne.
Okay.
One is a builder and one is an architect. And they both live out in the Hamptons. So our whole family, it's like in real estate, is like my dad was a builder, then turned mortgage guy. My brother is an architect and my other brother is a builder. It's just in our blood.
They like, I take it, up in the Hamptons. It's, I've never been to the Hamptons, and everything that you see on TV about it, you see these humongous big homes, but I was told it's not everything up there is that big.
No, no, my brother lives in a refurbished barn. It was a 1 bedroom. He made it into a 2 bedroom. It's 1.5 baths. It's a tiny little, barn. I mean, it's beautiful, but no, there's plenty of houses that are just, 1,100 square feet. It's just like anywhere. You're going to get all shapes and sizes. You're
Right.
going to get the big giant $1 million homes, but you're going to get normal regular size houses too.
Yeah, and TV glamorizes everything. I mean, I
Yeah.
think of the Hamptons, I think of Seinfeld when they talk about the Hamptons and going to the Hamptons, and they go and you see these big homes, and that's what I think many people expect, that everything's that way, but it obviously is not that way. So they
No.
obviously are successful in what they do too, Anthony and Wayne.
Yes, they are very successful. Yes, they're
You,
talented.
you said back in 2018, quote, "I bet you when I entered the world in 1970, this man had no idea what he was in for." I may be the reason he lost all his hair, but man, do I love the heck out of him. Happy birthday to my dad. He's had a very intense year, and at 73, he's more handsome than ever. He turned 77 back, I believe on August 13th. And I know you just moved down to Florida and are very close to him now. Tell us a little bit about him.
And it's so interesting that you say that, because earlier today he wanted to get me a housewarming gift, so he's buying me a wine fridge. And he called me today to say, I ordered the wine fridge, it's going to be delivered to the house. And then he said, what are you doing tonight? And he's like, do you have plans? And I said, no. And I was like, why? He's like, do you want to have dinner? And I was like, is everything okay? I mean, it's just so weird that I get to this is because my father lived in the Hamptons and I lived in Dutchess County. So I've always lived far from him. Either I was living in, Danbury, Connecticut, and Boston, Massachusetts, but he always lived in Long Island. So now for us to be 10 miles from each other, it's kind of, it's actually really cool. So I have a date tonight. My dad's picking me up at 6:30. He's a very hard worker. My dad, I'm going to get emotional again. I get so emotional now between my dad and Pete that they're
okay.
just, he's good to his kids. He's really good to my children. He's stubborn. That's probably where I get my stubbornness from. He's a little thick-headed. He's an old school Italian from Brooklyn.
Right.
We do bump heads once in a while, but I know that he knows that I love him dearly.
And he's a cancer survivor too, isn't he?
He is. Yes. He had throat cancer, I think like 3 years ago, and he's been clean since.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Quote, they drive me crazy at times, and I'm sure I drive them crazy. Matter of fact, I know I drive them crazy, but it's only because they are truly my whole world, unquote. You, of course, are talking about your two beautiful kids, Phil and Gigi. And I want to read something Phil said a few years ago. Quote, happy Father's Day to the one that's both a mother and a father for me. Enjoy today just as you would Mother's Day, and let it be a reminder that you've done a grand job at both, Denise Panza, unquote. I saw that Phil's a big skateboarder, and you bought him a bike at Christmas, and that didn't go over so well.
Yeah, he didn't want it. I had to return it. I was so excited about it.
Yeah. And I believe that he and his girlfriend Bella just moved in together in Brooklyn too.
And they're so happy. And I'm so in love with how happy they are. And I love how happy she makes him. It's the best feeling ever.
I want to read a few things you also you said about Gigi. Quote, she's loving and compassionate, determined and independent, sensitive and intelligent. I adore her smile, cherish her hugs, admire her heart, love her cooking, and blessed to be her mom. I get to be her mama, unquote. You also said, quote, she is my heart, my soul, my little best friend, the source of many laughs and a few tears. She is my daughter, and she is my world. Next to my son, of course, unquote. I know that you've said a lot about them. Just tell us a little bit more about, what they bring to your world.
So Philip is, it was just me and Phil for the longest. Phil doesn't, he doesn't have a father in his life, and he hasn't seen his father in over 2 decades. So it's just been me and Phil and I. So for Phil and I have to be good cop, bad cop, because I'm just it. I'm the only parent. And, so we obviously, it's, with a boy and a mom, sometimes we bump heads. I guess this is normal for everyone, but boy, that boy knows that I will do anything for him. And I love him to pieces. He makes me a better person. I don't know that I can actually say Gigi makes me a better person. Gigi, I love her. She drives me crazy. 18 years old, but Phil actually makes me a better person. I feel like Phil and I grew up together because I was so young when I had him. Right. And now, it's the best when I'm 52 and he's 28, and, we get to, we'll go out and, have a nice dinner and have a glass of wine together. I love being a mom to this 28-year-old boy. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the best. It was fun being a mom to a 2-year-old Philip, but right. I think it's even more fun being a mom to 28-year-old Philip. And Gianna is just, I say she's a lot like me. And she is my little best friend. It's been me and her for a while because Phil obviously went to college in Ohio and he was gone. So it was her and I for a while. And, we're very close. Like, we could we're just best friends.
And she looks like you. And from some of the things I saw online, that you guys act a lot like each other too. You sort of like two peas in a pod.
Yeah, she does look like me when she's not a blonde. She has since dyed her whole hair blonde, but
Right.
this is really her color.
Yeah,
Not
I
this
saw the
color
pictures
right
of her
here,
dark.
Michael.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
This,
absolutely.
right, where she took this little streak right here, Mike, and then she did the whole head that color. But
She just graduated from high school and she's down at college at Florida too.
yeah, she is.
When I know you're so excited, you're around your daughter, you're around your dad, you're in the sunshine now. What a wonderful situation you got.
And my son's coming for Christmas. He's flying in.
Great.
So I'm very happy about that.
What are the most important lessons that you've learned in life?
Oh, wow. Gosh, you put me on the spot. Most important lessons. I do believe that you get what you put in, right? So that I lazy is not in my vocabulary. I believe that you have to hustle, that things do not just come to you because you think you're a great person and things should come to you. You
Right.
have to work hard. I guess it's all about working hard and putting in effort, and what you give is what you get. And there is something really wonderful about doing for others and not expecting anything in return. I do love that too.
Yeah, I agree with it, about not expecting anything in return, because a lot of people do things and have an ulterior motive, and, you should just do it because you want to do it.
Right.
And no one owes us anything. Like you said, you got to go out there and work for it, because, we get, I tell people all the time, no one's going to save you. You have to save yourself.
It's true.
How can people find you on social media if they want to follow you, and also get a hold of you if they're interested in having you as their mortgage broker?
So they can always text me or call me, right, at 203-942-6845. And they can always reach me on Facebook. It's just Denise Panza. Denise Panza. Denise last name Panza, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. That's where I am. I don't think I'm anywhere else. I'm on YouTube a little bit. And that's it. I'm pretty much out there. You can find me easily.
Yeah, and your last name is not a very common last name, so obviously there's probably not a lot of Denise Panzas.
I only have one other Denise Panza that I'm friends with on Facebook, and she is a beautiful, younger, like 19-year-old young lady from Italy that friended me once upon a time, and I've got to see her grow, which is nice. And she is Denise
That's cool.
Panza. But I don't know another Denise Panza besides her. It'd be cool if there was one. I would like to connect with her, especially if she was a realtor. Can you imagine? Mike,
oh my God, that'd be funny. That would be funny.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Googling your name is interesting sometimes. I'm like, I wouldn't have thought there would have been another Michael Zellner, but there's several of them out there and everything.
Really?
I was like, it was just so weird. Then you see what they're doing. You see them, because I remember years ago, I said to somebody, yeah, find me on Facebook, just, type in Michael Zellner. And they go, well, there's 6 of them. I'm like, oh, really? And so you start Googling, you find it. But yeah, having that unique last name like Panza, that's wonderful. You and I met on LinkedIn several months ago, and I have to tell you, you are one of my favorite people to follow on there, because you post a combination of stuff that's inspirational, funny, quirky, corny, and motivational all at the same time. And I've never seen you down.
I'll take that. I'll take it. I'll take the quirky and the corny.
Yeah. Never seen you down on there, which is great. You're very engaged, and obviously from your dedication, your desire, and your work ethic, which is extremely wonderful. I can see why you're as successful as you are. And I really appreciate you coming on today. This has been a lot of fun.
This was really fun. Thank you so much. I think this is like one of my favorite ones I've ever done. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for taking me down memory lane.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.